Hello Manchester United fans, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to Forever United TV. Of course, if you are an opposition fan in the chat as well, welcome to you also. This is going to be an enjoyable show tonight because everybody's going to love this show. We get to hate on the Glazers as a fan base, as one on the evening show this evening. We're going to be talking through the details of Manchester United's quarterly figures, what it means, what progress has been made, and the damage that has already been done, hampering that progress. It is two sides of an ownership here fighting against each other, and Manchester United treading water. How long can it last? That's the question I'm asking on the night's show this evening. Thank you everybody who's joined us a bit earlier, who is live. Of course, we are a bit earlier tonight. I am very, very busy this evening again, so we're doing the earlier show. So thank you again for being in. It's not the usual, but of course, you are here, you dedicated bunch. Thank you for joining us on the chat. And do get in there with your comments and get interacting with everybody in that live chat. Of course, please make sure that you drop your comments in below at the end of the show as well if you have missed out and you're playing catch up later on. No Champions League football tonight, just the Europa League. No one's really bothered about that. So plenty of time to get your comments in later on throughout the night on everything we discussed there. You may have seen throughout the day lots of news around Manchester United. We're going to get through all of the updates regarding the transfers, the potential January transfer window as well. Before we get into that though, you will see in the live chat and in the description the link to OK Jerseys. Again, last few days now before we can get your orders in ahead of Christmas. Get your bargain football kits, training kits, replica kits and retros all in at a great price, around £15 per shirt. Use Adam on the promo code on entering your details in when paying and get an extra 8% off. I've pulled one out tonight. This is just one of the special ones. This is the Man United baseball shirt. Yes, a baseball special edition Manchester United top, buttoned up like a baseball jersey. Absolutely brilliant design. Love this one. This is one of my new favourites, to be honest. But that is there now on the store as well. So if you want something different, then get onto the store now. The link is in the live chat, everyone. Glazers, INEOS, United, finances. Pretty boring, isn't it? But it's important for us to discuss as a fan base. And I want your opinions on this as well, because United have released their first quarterly year figures for, I think it was September leading up to December. These are quite important because this is Manchester United without European football, broadcasting money, gate receipts, the lack of games. These are going to be telling us a lot when it comes to Manchester United's progress with what we've managed to save and what our operating profits might actually be. I'll read out certain parts of it and then we'll get into the debate and discuss what's actually going on with it and where it leaves Manchester United going forward. Give me your opinions on this as well, because it is vital for Manchester United. So, Manchester United's first quarter, the financial results out. Total revenues of 140.3 million, down slightly from the 143.1 last year at the same quarter. Operating profit for the quarter was 13 million compared to a loss of just under 7 million 12 months ago. So straight away there, obviously progress being made by Manchester United in the quarter on the profits. Mr. says that these robust financial results reflect the resilience of Manchester United as we make strong progress in our transformation of the club. The difficult decisions we have made in the past year have resulted in a substantial lower cost base and a more streamlined, effective organisation equipped to drive the club towards improved sporting and commercial performance over the long term. Quick side note to that, Manchester United sponsorship revenue 47 million, down 4.8 due to largely the end of their training kit deal with Tezos. Sources say positive talks with new partners are ongoing. So United's sponsorship money coming in is down for this quarter because of the lack of the the shirt sponsor for the training kit. So sleeve sponsors, shirt sponsors for the training kits, things like this, all massive revenue streams for Manchester United. So obviously with no current training kit sponsor, Manchester United's sponsorship deals are down. So looking at that, it all looks a little bit more rosy. On paper it looks great. Look, I'm no financial expert. I keep saying this every time we do talk about this. I'm feeding off what the financial experts are actually saying for Manchester United, where it does look good on paper. We have to remember the sacrifices that this club has had to make with some staff and certain cuts and being brutal in a lot of different departments around the football club to bring Manchester United down and obviously bring the wage bill down as well. I think that's down by some 7 million or something like that now over the year, which is quite substantial compared to this time last year. So Manchester United making things work in that department, but of course we have also had to draw down money again to help spend. So when we look at that side of things, this is where it gets a little bit more murky watered, because profits are great, that's fantastic. So how can your profits be up? And then this, Manchester United's net debt has now risen to its highest ever level of 749.2 million after the club borrowed an additional 105 from its credit facility. The debt from the Glazers takeover remains unchanged at just under £500 million, £481 million to be exact. There are plenty of reports now reporting this in the dollar to, I think sensationalise, make it look a little bit more extreme. So you'll see plenty of articles floating around social media and on news websites saying that Manchester United have just hit $1 billion in debt. Obviously, you've got to bring exchange rates into this. You can choose to use the pounds if you want, which is, like we said, under 750 million just. Or you can go with the dollars to make the headline look 20 times worse. The headline will state what looks like an absolute disaster for Manchester United, being $1 billion in debt, but the story reads exactly the same as any other article. The majority of that debt is the Glazers, and Manchester United's financing of that debt has killed this football club, and any progress that INEOS really wanted to make is always going to be anchored by the debt of the Glazers. It's not going anywhere. They've just taken 1.3 billion off INEOS and put nothing of that money back into Manchester United. Zilcho, nada, nothing back into Manchester United. And this is where I think we do need to realise as a fan base that this is an uphill struggle with INEOS in situ. They have moved United forward financially, looking, well, as far as I know, and I'm no expert, like I said, better than what it was. The figures don't lie, but we still see the big debt. We still see Manchester United needing to finance that debt. We still see it as a deduction coming off at the end of the year, an outgoing, an expense to try and finance their debt. Well, they have taken their 1.3 billion and probably spent it somewhere within the Buccaneers franchise over in the NFL instead of Manchester United, because to this day, over 2 decades on, the Glazers still have not invested one single penny of their own money into Manchester United. Now, this is where I do have a tiny little bit of sympathy for INEOS with the stick that they're getting. Obviously, I still don't think that they've made every single fantastic decision since they've been in, but they're better than the Glazers. That's what we cannot obviously disagree with. A lot of fans will say, well, they're in bed with the Glazers, so they're just financing the Glazers to stay at Manchester United in a way. And plenty of fans will keep to that. But let's not forget, they have invested, and Sir Jim has invested INEOS's money into Manchester United, something that the Glazers have not done in over 2 decades. Let's remember that. And they are trying to streamline Manchester United to be more profitable, to invest into the men's and women's teams. Good timing for Manchester United to put out these figures and say we've seen a little bit of a profit and we've managed to invest into both women and men's teams. Say that the women are 3rd in the WSL, United are 6th in the Premier League, and of course the under-18s and under-21s are going great guns also. So it looks great, and the timing couldn't really have been better for what's happening on the pitch right now for the Reds. But again, in all of that, in everything that is good, there is always a bad, and the bad at Manchester United is that lingering horrible smell of the Glazer debt, which is just never ever going to leave Manchester United. The good thing that we've got with INEOS and everything that's in this is that there is an option out for somebody else to come and buy Manchester United from under the feet of INEOS, and the Glazers wouldn't think twice about selling under them. The structure which INEOS are building shows that Manchester United are self-sufficient, if anything. And without the Glazer debt, Manchester United would be fine. We don't need billionaires, we don't need oligarchs, we don't need the state funds or anything like that. Manchester United, we're fine on our own, and I think INEOS's running of the football club has shown that. So that's probably the biggest positive we can take from INEOS's reign so far. And look, I'm not blowing smoke up their arse or anything like that. The facts are there, stats are there, numbers are there, and we're still spending as much as anybody else. and actually somehow managing to turn a profit, small profit in that first quarter. It looks good on paper, and like I said before, I'm not going to try and claim that I am some financial guru who knows exactly what's going on. There will be deductions to come off that, and we don't see the full figures. Basically, it's Manchester United operating at the same sort of numbers as we did last season when we had European football. So you've got to say that's probably a good thing if you wanted to round it up in a way. So, yeah, no games, no match day revenues, no broadcast deals, no sponsorship deal for Manchester United. Still only 3 million down in terms of revenue from this time last year. It's not too bad, is it? It isn't. And with the cuts that they've made, they've cut that off. But again, people will always look at this and try and build it into something that it's not. There's only one thing that you need to remember. There's only one thing ever that you need to remember. And this is where INEOS are always going to be slaughtered by this fan base. And that's the fact that they have bigged up the Glazers in interviews, or Sir Jim Ratcliffe has, in different podcasts and things like this. Look, he's going to have to, because they still are the majority. And he had to make it sound like they were all right people to get his foot in the door. It's business at the end of the day. And he's had to do a lot to try and get into Manchester United, jump through flaming hoops, in fact, to work around the Glazers. So he's not going to come out and say anything bad about the Glazers because he's in business with them. So it makes sense from that side of things. In the business world, everyone's laughing at us football fans, even picking out the problems that the Glazers and the INEOS are causing this football club. But we are football fans. We wear our hearts on our sleeve and we love our football club. The Glazer debt and the other debt on top of that is outstanding transfers. And once again, I just need to make this clear. When talking about Manchester United's debt, when talking about the club being in £750 million worth of debt, you have to look at 481 million of that being the Glazer debt. Now take that off the 750 and where are we? Existing transfers. Every single club in the world has that debt. Every single club finances transfers. So this isn't just Manchester United that have that sort of debts. Every club around the world has theirs and they spend to their means. So each club will have their own transfers, existing historical transfers still being paid in transactions, and obviously you have to calculate that into your PSR years and financial years and your annuals and everything like that. So that's there and it's going to be there forever and a day. Every club is always going to have that debt because nobody pays for a transfer outright. Not big ones anyway. That's what we've just got to learn how it works in the football world. So don't look at it as £750 million worth of debt. That's Manchester United's recruitment, obviously, and now we're starting to see a different recruitment drive. And hopefully that value that United have got there is maybe more or at least the same as what the debt is. So what we owe on players, at least we can start to say that a lot of these players that we're bringing in are now worth that money. Like we've said before, part of that, what does it work out at? That's around £200 million worth of transfer debt or something like that, is it? I think it is around there, isn't it? Something like that. You've got the transfers of, obviously, everyone that INEOS brought in 2 years ago. Everyone that INEOS brought in this summer as well. People that we have actually said aren't bad signings. What you're looking at now in that debt is probably still some of Mason Mount's transfers, some of Andre Onana's, some of Rasmus Højlund's. These players obviously are all going to be sold in the summer. Jadon Sancho's has gone off that as well. That'll be out of there. Obviously, Anthony's gone, wiped out as well. So all of that gone. And then you're looking at the players that we brought in. So financially, they sort of earn what the debt is in a way. And if United do manage to get back in Europe, then that sort of debt is seen as manageable for the club. It's the 481 bleeding bastard million, which is killing us. And that always will. Honestly, again, we say every time we do a show like this, any financials are brought in or we talk about the Glazers, it's always the same. These leeches are honestly the worst owners in the world when it comes to scamming a football club out of millions. Absolute disgrace of an ownership model is what the Glazers are. And they were never going to sell the full stake of this football club. They were never going to do it. And we knew it, didn't we? We kind of knew exactly where this was going from the start. But we sit in hope that someone will come in and take the Glazers out. An interesting one from this as well. I will come to the live comments in just a moment. Anti-Glazer fans have encouraged supporters not to buy Manchester United official merchandise, but the club have banked an increase of 3.7 million from the same period last year. Club sources have said that the increased retail and merchandise revenue is due to the impact of full 3 months trading under their new e-commerce model compared to only 1 month in the prior year quarter. So again, Manchester United's strength and the power of the football club is showing. The positive I take from this is proof that United don't need anyone. We know this. We don't need anyone to come in. We just needed someone to come in and run this club properly. Run it properly. And that's all it ever needed. And it's not been done. It's still staggering how Manchester United's debt under the Glazers was under 200 million before COVID. And now it's got to extreme levels where it's just under £500 million with the Glazers now. Honestly, how it's been allowed to happen, I think the Premier League have to hold themselves accountable for a lot of this as well. They are an absolute disgrace when it comes to allowing the Glazers to have this much freedom to do what they want. It is an absolute travesty. And everyone else in the world of football can thank, especially in the Premier League, can thank Manchester United now for having this model and showing how bad it is. And it's never ever going to happen again, because the Premier League will now never allow anyone to take over a football club leveraging its own finances against it and using that money to purchase the football club. This is never going to happen again. So everyone else can thank Manchester United for this. Can we spend? Does anyone know? Is a super chat from Hassan. Yes, of course we can spend. Manchester United can always spend. It's about balancing your books and what you can do. Manchester United and these figures obviously are calculating the money drawn down, the money that's been spent on transfers. Obviously, there was a big part of this that actually worked for Manchester United in selling Alejandro Garnacho. That transfer did help United's books quite a lot. But it just goes to show how important recruitment is as well in the outgoing section for United. And this is where I think having a proper management team / structure, whatever you want to call it, having that in place is vital for Manchester United now going forward. And I think that this is going to be crucial for the future of the football club as well. The squad to weight ratio rule kicking in is definitely going to help Manchester United because we do make so much money. It's about spending that money wisely, doing it right, not making the same mistakes again. The club cannot afford to go down the same pathway as we did before under just the Glazers. Otherwise, the club, you might as well forget it. You might as well forget it. It is just pointless. Manchester United will not be able to survive if it was just the Glazers again. We would have just carried on spiraling out of control and the debts would have just got worse. Are they going to get worse now? Well, I said it before, said it on many shows. The only way that Man United actually survive now is by getting into the Champions League, competing at the highest level. That's the only way that this club will ever survive. And without that, we're always going to be, like we said, catching up in the wake of everybody else, in the slipstream of every other team that's gone past us at full throttle because they've got decent management teams in place and their recruitment is spot on. United are on full-on catch-up mode, which is the point I was making before. Someone mentioned development of younger players. There just isn't time for United right now to do this, and they need to work a way through transfers and transfer windows to try and propel themselves straight back up there again. We have to try and fast-track about 3 years worth somehow with what we're doing to try and be sustainable again. United will only ever be sustainable if they're in the Champions League. It's as simple as that. There is nothing else that Manchester United can do. They've exhausted every single revenue stream and every single avenue of finance that they possibly can. And without the Champions League, it's not going to be the same Man United. It's as simple as that. All right, let's get some comments in. The debt is in dollars. The majority was borrowed in USD. Transfer debt is in pounds and euros, which is a multi-currency debt facility. Lots of people, financial people coming in. I love it when financial people come into the chat. People who know a lot more about it. Again, like I said, I will read the headline. I will give it the fan perspective from it. And then we can break it down from what we can see. It's quite clear from what I can see, the majority of the debt is still the Glazer debt. As simple as that. It's time the Premier League force them to clear 80% immediately, or they will be forced into administration. Not sure where you're going with that one, mate. Sorry. There's only 13,500 per season ticket holders. In terms of, I'm not sure what you mean by that one there, Super Frank. It's football decisions, i.e. players bought by Woodward Rot, that have impacted the most. Yep, it has, because then players have not been good enough, not got Man United into Europe, and of course, then players are costing Manchester United because we overspent on them as well. Criminal. Absolutely ridiculous. The people that were working at this football club before absolutely shafted this football club. Book it was government who allowed, well, it was the government who allowed their closed that loophole now. Sorry, Gray, yes, a few typos there, but I got what you meant, mate. They have closed that loophole, and no one can buy a football club like Manchester United were bought out anymore. Nothing will change until the Glazers are bought out. Radcliffe knew this, but still kept them on board. He didn't keep anyone on board, mate. How can he keep them on board when they're the majority shareholders? No, I know what you're saying, but it's the other way around. INEOS have been brought in to run Manchester United at a profit, and that's how the Glazers would make more money out of Manchester United. If INEOS take Manchester United forward, and don't forget, they're not, the Glazers this is, anywhere near financing any of the stadium. They're not for anything. We've not even seen them being involved in anything for Manchester United's brand new stadium or anything like that. So if the INEOS's model gets United back in Europe, builds a new stadium, who is going to benefit the most from this? Club-wise, it will be the Glazers. INEOS will make their money somehow because they're businessmen, and Sir Jim Radcliffe didn't get where he is now without bending a few rules and knowing how to make money. So they will both make money off it, but the Glazers, I think, have been the clever party in this, in using the streamlining business model and football club and club running model that INEOS have put in to make themselves more money. They're going to come out of this quids in easily. And if United are successful, then there you go. That is the Glazers in the money yet again. The Glazers were quite happy to use INEOS as the hatchet team regarding redundancies, but we are not fooled. The Glazers know exactly what they're doing. They're the smartest businessmen on the planet when it comes to sports franchise and things like this. They have absolutely destroyed us and taken a fortune out of it. How do you make so much money without spending anything? Staggering. Absolutely staggering. It really is. Imagine the crap show Netflix would be if Blockbuster bought them when they were offered, still renting out DVDs through the post. The good old days, mate, they were. Not wrong with Blockbuster. The old VHS, you know what I mean? You have to be old enough to know exactly what I mean by that. But yeah, good old VHS days. Used to go there praying that no one had taken the one that you actually wanted to watch that night. Hello to anyone who's just joining us in the chat. I can see a few people saying hello. I hope you're all doing fantastic. Again, thank you for joining us on the slightly earlier show this evening. Great to have you all with us again. And please do pop your likes in on the video. It will be a shorter video tonight. It's just going through all the news quickly. There's a lot of stuff that we've actually been over already. And then again, we will be back at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. Busy day tomorrow with the press conference coming up ahead of Bournemouth as well. So looking forward to a bit of football normality again. This goes to show how Manchester United's finances have held up without European football, by the way. Can you imagine if we got European football? What Manchester United would be looking at? In so many different ways, it would be massively beneficial. Imagine where we would be if the Glazers were involved all those years ago. Mate, honestly, that is something that I think about every single day, Alex. Fantastic point, mate, because it would be a completely different world. Man United would be scary if we walked in without the Glazers to this new financial boom, broadcasting revenues, European Cup money, things like this. Manchester United would be unstoppable. Unstoppable. And it's scary to think back what them days were like. We were just walking along, singing a song, walking in. No, I'm joking. I was walking along, watching Manchester United week in, week out, not having a care in the world, loving our football, carefree, the club in no debt whatsoever, absolutely killing it, buying players, balanced books, no issues, fair pricing. Everything was being built. Obviously, the stadium was still being built before the Glazers came in. So Old Trafford was maximised by the time the Glazers had come in. So all of this was built off the back of Man United running itself. The good old days of Manchester United, you could say, when nobody could touch us. Spirit of a Quota says, if Ruben is sacked, the future will push the club's aspirations for Champions League back a couple of years. Need a steady hand on the tiller calm exteriors. I mean, in terms of Ruben being sacked, I don't think it's going to stop Manchester United challenging for European places, because the squad fits quite a few different systems and models. It's not going to put Man United back 2 years. This is, again, the difference between Man United before and Man United now. Man United before, you might have been right, because all we did was buy players for the manager, and he had all the power. Now it's a structure buying players, and it's not just Ruben Amorim's players. I'm sorry, if these players in this team can play this formation, one of the most difficult ones in the league, then any formation or system that a new manager brings in is going to be an absolute doddle for him, isn't it? London Tsango passed on cash and moved back to the States, mates. Okay, nice one, Gray. I had a few bevies today, mate. Yeah, I love... sorry, I must get this. No, super chat in from Roz there. Says, how big of a fish is needed to come in here and buy them out? If the richest person in Britain could only manage a small percentage, the control of decisions. Well, yeah, I don't know if INEOS would have been able to finance a full takeover. No idea. The liquid assets and available cash, which is clear for everybody to see with Sir Jim Ratcliffe's wealth and what INEOS actually own and have in reserves, looks like it's plenty enough to buy Manchester United out for full. We will see, won't we? We will see. But again, I think there is a bigger plan in play. The stadium would not be built through INEOS doing all the work if they thought that it was just going to be sold from under them. We say this every time, don't we? There's no way that INEOS are going to allow that to happen. Thank you for the super chat, Ross, buddy. Really appreciate that, mate. No Guinness today, says Gray. No worries, my man. Can have one tonight, though, buddy. Don't worry. You're allowed one tonight, Gray. Go get it done. Quickly, just in covering the other bits of news as well. Again, you would have heard the story come out from Ben Jacobs earlier on. A new name that Manchester United are looking at is Tyler Adams. We spoke about this the other day. I don't think there's any chance. There is a possibility he leaves in 2026, more likely this summer. Adams turns 27 next year, and while the aim is to lower the average age in the midfield, he's expected to be more affordable. Man United like Tyler Adams' character. He's well liked by his teammates and has leadership qualities that are expected to show in the World Cup, obviously for the USA. There are no negotiations at the moment, but Tyler Adams could become one to watch in relation to Manchester United. Whether that means January or not, I don't really think Tyler Adams is the type of player Manchester United would be going for. Don't be surprised if Manchester United start the January transfer window slowly. We've heard this before, but business could pick up towards the end of the window. Again, everything pushing towards the back of the window. This is the same as what happened last transfer window, isn't it? United see Conor Gallagher as a good try before you buy option if Atletico are open to a loan deal next month. They're not, and I don't see that happening. We've had plenty of reports from it. If they change their minds, United will be all over it, because it is a risk-free loan for Conor Gallagher. That's where it's at. Nottingham Forest see a January exit. Nottingham Forest see a January exit for Elliot Anderson as a huge surprise. If that happens, they're, again, not expecting this to actually turn out to be the case. I would be shocked if Carlos Baleba left in January also, says Ben Jacobs. This, again, is something that we've already known and talked about quite a bit. It would have to be something miraculous. And you know what? It's all if, buts, maybes in the lead up to the window. Until the window opens, you just don't know. You don't know what's going to happen. And nobody, I think, is expecting much unless that same word that keeps coming out of every journalist's mouth, an opportunity arises. That's what Manchester United will be looking at and hoping they could actually make happen. That's the reality of it all anyway. But in terms of transfers, Tyler Adams is a big fat no for me. Man United have got better players already. And again, anyone big is going to come in when they are available. It's as simple as that. And they might not be available until the summer. So again, it's tight pockets, tight wallets until that player becomes available. And January is going to be difficult for United. It really is. Look, it is a short show tonight, everybody, because I am so busy. But I wanted to get a live show out there so you could all watch it throughout the evening. Just want to say a massive thank you again to everyone in the chats. You early birds that came in. I know it's not our normal time slot. Wanted to do a quick fire roundup there for you all. Go over the Glazer. Absolute nightmare again, just to remind Man United fans of what we're up against here as well with this ownership model. A reality check really is what was needed after them financial figures came out today. There you go. Get your comments in after the live is finished in just a moment as well, everybody. Love you all. I hope you have a fantastic evening, whatever you're up to. If anything does break later on this evening, I'll be all over it. I can't see it at the moment, but I'm here for you if it does happen. I will be back later, but until then, I'll see you tomorrow for a busy day here on Forever United TV. The press conference coming up as well. And, of course, a build-up to the Bournemouth game this weekend. It is the weekend tomorrow. Friday is here. I can see people dropping in now saying, I've missed the early show. Just watch it back, everybody. Get your comments in. I'll catch up with you again in the morning. Do apologise if anyone has missed out in their fix and their daily fix of FUTV, but we will be back on normal schedule tomorrow, everybody. So have a fantastic evening, and I will see you all tomorrow.